Samurai Jack and the Powerpuff Girls may have just been confirmed to be joining MultiVersus. Now, I am getting all this info from Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and as I always say, it is a leak, so take it with a grain of salt. The Samurai Jack info was released about last week, and the Powerpuff Girls info was released yesterday. But let's go over Jack first. We got an image here that goes over his move list, or supposedly goes over his move list. So unfortunately, we don't get to see any of it, but some of these moves are described, so I want to go over those, so that we can kind of envision what they look like. So for his passive moves, after doing a forward dodge on the ground, holding the dodge input will transition Jack into a sprint. While sprinting, Jack will automatically dodge incoming enemy projectiles, but sprinting drains his defense meter. That doesn't sound terrifying at all. I will say, just by the description of this passive effect, it sounds like Jack is going to be a really up-close fighter, which is surprising considering he uses a sword, and like with Finn and Wonder Woman, that gives them some decent distance, so I'm interested to see how people will play him. With this, we also get to see the name of some of his special moves: Aku's Bane, Blade of Vengeance, Calm Your Mind, Destructive Descent, Downward Slash, Face My Blade, Flying Slash. Another passive description here: if Jack has an ally, some of his attacks will deal a marked debuff. Allies that hit enemies with the marked debuff will convert marked into a stack of weaken. So I wonder what type of character he's gonna be. I feel like Jack would be a bruiser, but maybe he'll be like Finn and be an assassin. Some of the other moves are described here, like his ground neutral. Jack charges a forward stab. If fully charged, an Aku Beetle drone heavy projectile will leap toward Jack. Jack will dodge the beetle and slice it in half with a powerful sword slash. So I guess the bug itself doesn't give you damage, but it's just a part of the animation for Jack doing his move, and if you're caught in that, then you'll get hit. That's interesting. His special ground down attack: Jack charges rapid slashes with his sword that deal marked debuffs. The longer the charge, the more slashes Jack will do. With full focus, Jack will do the full amount of slashes without charging. For his special air down, Jack darts downward and drags his sword in front of him. With full focus, Jack will create a shockwave heavy projectile in front of him if he lands on the ground during the attack. That's pretty cool. Definitely something you gotta look out for there. For his special air neutral, Jack grabs then throws his opponent, breaking armor and dealing marked debuff. If Jack grabs an enemy projectile, I'm sorry, what? He can grab projectiles? Are you kidding me? Okay, maybe if they're just like on the ground, like Shaggy's sandwich or LeBron's basketball. I was thinking like they're being thrown at him and he can just catch them, which that'd be boss. But if he grabs the enemy projectile, he will throw it back at his foe, reflecting it. Oh my gosh, maybe he can. Dude, that'd be insane. Jack is armored while throwing enemies or projectiles. That's gonna be a crazy move if this is true. For his special ground up, Jack jumps into the air and kicks enemies. With full focus, Jack will be armored during this attack and will move further. Jack will perform the focus version of his special air down if he performs it immediately after the focus version of this attack. For his neutral ground side, Jack readies a dashing sword strike, choosing the direction of attack. When the strike begins, he teleports to his destination, hitting an enemy in between him and his starting position. With full focus, Jack will dash back and forth during the attack. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I can already envision that attack. It's like in those animes where they have a standoff and they both move so fast, like you just see them kind of dash across the screen, and then it's like, oh, who won? That's exactly what this move sounds like it's gonna be. For his normal air down, Jack slashes his sword downward. His sword has a sweet spot if it hits an enemy at the end of its slash. I'm assuming that they're saying that's how you spike your enemies, which makes sense. You gotta have a sweet spot. It can't just be the entire blade. Kind of like in Smash Bros. Okay, another one of his passives is whenever Jack hits enemies with melee attacks or is knocked back, his focus meter fills partially. Once it's full, Jack's special attacks are powered up, but performing them will set his focus back to 0. Focus attacks have increased power and deal call out weaken. Jack only has a short amount of time where he can perform focus attacks before his focus automatically resets. I wonder what call out weaken is. That sounds interesting. And finally, we have his special ground neutral. While armored, Jack readies his sword, then thrusts its hilt forward, dealing the marked debuff. If his armor is broken during the attack but is not knocked back, he initiates a counterattack. During this attack, Jack marks the enemy that broke his armor and launches a sword slash projectile towards them. If Jack has an ally nearby, they will also receive armor, which if broken will initiate Jack's counterattack. Dang, that sounds insane, honestly. With full focus, the slash projectile becomes a heavy projectile, and Jack will also grant armor to his ally regardless of their distance from him. Okay, that sounds kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie. I really want to see how Jack is gonna play out, because if he's put in the game, I might just have to main him. But of course, I'll have the link to this post down in the description below if you want to check this entire page out for yourself. And with all that being said, I want to move on to the next and final leak that we're going to be talking about in this video. And that has to do with this post right here, talking about C031. Some traits have been discovered for that character, like how they have a rhythm buff like Garnet. It makes their attacks have more knockback and damage and can be stacked. They also have a placeholder mastery track. In some streams, we can see that the asset exists for C031B within the base C031 folder. And we have these two images here. Now, they go on to talk about that this could mean many different things. They could act as a 2-in-1 character, they could have some sort of alternate form or transformation, or they could have some sort of echo fighter of them added later, but we just don't know for sure yet. What really sticks out to me is the possible 2-in-1 factor of this character, but the fact that we already have the Powerpuff Girls stage, and we saw some Easter eggs for them in the launch trailer, just like Jack, it makes me think that this isn't a 2-in-1 character, but a 3-in-1 character. It could be like Pyra and Mythra in Smash Bros, where their down special changes out that character. That'd be a really cool mechanic for them to bring over, and I think it fit perfectly for the Powerpuff Girls, being able to choose between one of the three during battle. Or they could do it like each stock that you have is a Powerpuff Girl. So if you have 3 stocks, obviously every time you die, you cycle through them. Now, would each girl have the same moveset? I don't know. But do me a favor and let me know what you think of all this in the comments down below. And if you want to talk to me personally, feel free to join the Discord. And don't forget, I stream MultiVersus every week with viewers. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay mad.